it must have been something that caused blood, because ever since then the ladies have taken red stuff and put it on the lips. You see, what you can't understand out there, you can understand if you get one of these. All right, so she ate that stuff. Whenever that stuff was, it gave her blood in that circulatory system, and that ruined her. She was destined to die right there. She died spiritually there, but she was destined to die physically because the blood was no good. It was forbidden fruit. You know what that means? I hate to say this. You know what that means? That means there's only one religion in America that violates all three testaments every Sunday morning at 11 o'clock. There's only one religion in America that blasphemes the Holy Spirit 3 times every Sunday morning at 11 o'clock. Because they profess to take blood. It's forbidden in all 3 testaments. Now, in regards to your question to final wind things up, the angels come down. And the angels reproduce with women. And you can't reproduce with women unless you have blood. So where do the angels get their blood from? Well, there are only 2 places they could get it. They either had to get it out of the garden, off the tree where Eve got it, which may be so, or else Transylvania, Dracula, they got it out of people. That's why those vampires are called, they take the form of a bat. You remember the sermon I preached to you the first morning I was here? On them demons? They're like birds. Bats in the belfry. Now, one more thing, and we'll be through with this thing, unless you have nightmares all night. When Eve takes this fruit, evidently it affects her pregnancy. Because when she gives birth to these boys, she brought forth a man, and she brought forth his brother Abel. They were twins. There's no conception between them. Adam knew his wife, and she brought forth Cain and Abel his brother. There's no conception between them. At least it isn't mentioned. Those boys are twins. All right, turn to 2 Corinthians chapter 11. It's still the most shocking book you ever... Then it's as shocking as the Bible. The Bible's a shocker. 2 Corinthians 11. For the Book of the Month Club, all that stuff, you know. 2 Corinthians 11:1. Would to God you could bear with me a little of my folly, and indeed bear with me. For I am jealous over you with godly jealousy. Watch it. For I have espoused you to one husband, that I may present you as a chaste virgin to Christ. Christ, the church, Adam and Eve. But I fear lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety, so your mind should be corrupted. Now, I see it has to do with corrupting the mind, but isn't that a peculiar expression in verse 2, chaste virgin? Eve has that boy Cain, and you know what the Holy Spirit said about that boy? Turn to 1 John chapter 2 or 3, 1 John 3:12. 1 John 3:12. You remember Jesus Christ talking with the Pharisees one time, and he said, "Ye of your father, the devil, and lust of your father you will do." He was a murderer from the beginning. Do you ever stop thinking about what a wild statement that is? You never heard about the devil murdering anybody. Where'd you read that? Christ said the devil was a murderer from the beginning. Not a place I've ever seen. I've read Genesis 94 times. I never found a place where the devil murdered anybody. But Christ said the devil was a murderer from the beginning. But who's he talking about? There's only one person he could be talking about. He's talking about Cain. But he calls him the devil. Strange book. First, Rosemary's Baby. 1 John 3, verse 12. Not as Cain, who was of that wicked one, and slew his brother. Now that baby's firstborn, he says, I got a man from the Lord, and John said, you got him from the devil. I guess that explains why women don't get along too well with snakes. When you find a woman who likes snakes, she got something wrong with her genes, man. I mean, what's that, Jean Dixon? She said this serpent climbs into bed at night with her and wraps around her and looks into her eyes with eyes full of loving kindness and wisdom. Good night, man. And they snake get in bed with me, boy, I'm going out the window, man. And you take, now you say, well, what are you telling us? You tell her the devil might be the father of my baby? No, they're not elect children of the devil born. No, I don't push it that far, but you may well face it. Twins can be conceived as far as 4 weeks apart. If you don't believe it, go down and talk to doctors and nurses. They can. Now, you know what's implied? I don't teach this as doctrine, see. I know what I'm with, see, and I know there's not enough information, to land on. So I don't teach this one of the fundamentals of the faith. You don't believe this, you're going to hell, that kind of thing. But this implies that Eve had some kind of relationship with the devil. And that Cain was the result of that. And it implies that relationship had something to do with the tree, and something to do with the mouth, and something to do with the devil associated with the tree as part of the tree. And you will find that in Ezekiel chapter 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And if you can't explain what's going on out in the world, you get you a King James 1611 Bible, and the entrance of thy word giveth light, it giveth understanding to the simple. Now, one thing you can be sure of, you can be sure that whatever Eve took, it ruined her blood if she had any, or gave her corrupt blood if she didn't have any, and frankly, I think she didn't have any. I think it was water in the blood. You can be sure the devil had something to do with Cain's conception, because before that boy was born, the Lord said, it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Talking about the seed of the serpent. So Cain's a perfect and first type of the Antichrist in the Bible, so much so he's called the devil. Now about the blood-sucking angels, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about all that. I know they had to get their blood from somewhere, and whenever you find out something in the world you can't understand, you come to here. And whenever you find this stuff about vampires and Dracula and Frankenstein, there has to be a basis for it in here. You say, why? Because this is the monitor. Everything outside of this book is an imitation of this book, or a counterfeit of this book, or an explanation of this book, see? Or a contradiction of this book, or an attack on this book, or a confirmation of this book, or an explanation of this book. But there's only one thing here. It's the book. There's only one real presence, it's God. And there's only one real material thing on this earth, and it isn't you. It's the book. It's the book. All right, brother, that'll be enough. That'll be enough. 20 after 4 here. I got enough to chew on for